Happy New Year, Super League fans worldwide. We are back. It might be 2021 where you are, but we are still in 0102 here in Super League Universe. And the first show of the new year, we are joined by a star-studded lineup to look at Sunday's action. Let's first welcome one of the regulars here on the Friday night stroke, by the time you see it, Saturday morning show. Hello, Greavesy, how are you?
I'm all right, Fifey. How are you doing?
I am very well. And listen, just a quick shout out to anyone that can help. I was very fortunate to celebrate my birthday this week by having a Chinese. Mr. Greaves cannot get a Chinese where he is. So if anyone, anywhere, can get a Chinese to Mr. Greaves, please let him know on Twitter, in his DMs, anything. We are also joined by another regular of ours, Super League stalwart. It's Steve Wright. Good evening, pal.
How are you doing? You all right?
I am very well. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Escaping the madness is someone who's fastly becoming a cult hero of the Super League. Evening, Jens.
Evening. Can I just have a quick question for you, or for Greaves as well? That Chinese you're talking about, were we talking about food or were we talking about something else? Because I might be able to help you there.
Whatever you're willing to send.
Ah, really? We'll have it. Come to my DMs. We'll have a chat.
And we are in the presence of greatness. One of only two men to lift the Super League twice, the only man to retain it, and now picking up the big bucks as the chairman. We have Ryan. Evening, pal.
Good evening, Fifey. Good evening, Super League fans. Hope everyone's well.
Happy New Year to
Happy New
you.
Year. And happy birthday to you, Fifey.
Yes, thank you. I'm sure you'll agree I don't look a day older than I did last week when we all spoke. Listen, it's been a very interesting season. I think we're now officially at the halfway stage of the season. 13, well, we're only 12 games down. I can't quite recall, Ryan, the halfway yet?
We're with 12 games, or if you're Leddersford or Dragons, only 11 games. But yeah, we're nearly halfway. We can say halfway.
We can say halfway. And it has been a season unlike any other. And, you know, I would know, I've been here since the start. It is still outrageously tight. I mean, just looking at the stats here, you have got 5 points separating first from sixth. You have just 6 points separating sixth from 13th. The league is, you know, you just can't call things at the minute, but you guys have the job of doing that anyway. So how I plan on doing this is kind of mixing all the bits in together as we look ahead to Sunday's action. And Jens, if I may, I will start with you to look at game number one. We've got Dragons, who, as Ryan said, have had a week off, so their players should be fresh. They entertain Churchtown, who had a very, very good win over Fulchester last time out. What are you thinking ahead of this one?
I think it's one of those that can go either way, really. I think Churchtown started the season not too good, a little bit of tinkering, maybe not finding the right tactics. I love the way he did a really cool thing in the transfer window by, you know, telling everyone I want players I maybe didn't have before. And it seems now that he found a tactic that gives him results. So probably slight favorites Churchtown, but I think the Dragons team is one of those teams that, I mean, if it clicks, they can score a lot of goals. They have a really good team on paper, so it's very hard to call.
Ryan, you've been involved in the league for a long time in various guises. And it seems to always be something we say about teams managed by Jamie, no matter how many other people are involved in the running. He always seems to have a squad that on their day could do this, but consistently, sadly for him, don't. Can you still see them? They're one of 3 teams on 12 points. Do they have enough about them to put a run together?
Yeah, definitely. I think They've definitely got the players. And I do think this three-headed dragon is the kind of corner. I think it will help in the long run, because if they are kind of firing tactics between each other and kind of saying, will this work, will this work? I think that team's definitely got the potential to go on a run, much like Hulls did a few weeks ago with the 4 on the bounce. They've got Batistuta, and we all know what he's capable of in the Super League. He's such a great player. They've had a lot of issues with the goalkeeper this season. He's obviously, I think at the start of the game, I think he's rated as probably the best goalkeeper in the game. Maybe the first couple of seasons, you'd expect Oliver Kahn to be the number 1 keeper. If he kind of starts being a little bit safer between the sticks, if they get the team selections a little bit more consistent, a little bit more, I'd say, right, in my opinion. Clarence stayed off on the bench quite a lot. Not really understand that when you've got a player of that magnitude. But he's definitely got the players, and if they are second guessing each other and improving each other's tactics, then they've definitely got the potential to go on a run. The issue, just to kind of finish on that point, is that it is very hard in this league to go on a run because of how tight it is. Those 3, 4, 5 game winning streaks are rare. So I think it would, whether they can get 2 or 3 on the bounce, I agree. Maybe 4 or 5 might be a bit of a stretch.
No, it's a very valid point, and as someone who was as consistent as you were, you would certainly know. Greavesy, I'll come to you first as we do a quick fire round of predict the score before we see any team news. Dragons v Churchtown, what are you thinking?
I'm going to sit firmly on the fence. I think, well, I'm not actually. I'm going to change my mind while I'm speaking. Dragons are so erratic, and Churchtown have kicked into form with them being the form team. I think Churchtown will get 1-0 win.
Steve?
They had a really good result against Aggies last time out, didn't they? The Dragons. It could be a platform for them to go on a bit, so I'm going to week at 2-1 Dragons.
Jens?
Desmond, 2-2.
And Ryan?
Oh, I think all good things come to an end. I think, is it 4 on the bounce now for Churchtown? I think that might come to an end here. I think Dragons might do them, maybe 2-0.
I actually agree. We've all sort of been around long enough to know how this game works. The rest, plus the form of Churchtown, I'm going to say Dragons nick it 2-1. Steve, we'll come to you next. Game number 2, Fulchester v Astor. 2 teams of differing fortunes early doors. What are you thinking going into this game?
I think it'll be a little blip on copybook for Macca Sunday, really. I think now he's had that defeat, he's going straight back to his I'm rubbish and I've just had a good start, blah blah. But I think, considering the way results have gone for Alf this week, this season so far, I definitely think he's going to have a bit too much in tank, is Macca, especially on the back of a defeat after they've been playing really well. Again, like you just said, everybody knows how game plays and this, that and other. I think if you are in very good form, it can lead a little bit to you picking it back up after a defeat or a draw. Or so I do think he's going to be a bit strong for Alf. If it were, because it's at Fulchester, isn't it? I think if it were at Astor, I think it might have been slightly different. But no, I could definitely see him getting back up winning trail.
Greavesy, forgetting about gameplay and how we all know Champ does, we've all been witnessing Ryan slowly making up narratives as the season's been going along for his own amusement. Given that Fulchester lost their last game and Astor did draw with Jens's Hall's side, what would it mean to Alf, do you think, to beat the man that's been calling him out as a myth?
I think it would mean a lot. We know there's a rivalry. We know there's money on the league between these 2 managers, so we know there's a lot involved. And I know that Alf would love nothing more than to win 1-0, scoring in the 90th minute. And that's what it's all about, really. You've got to have a little bit of rivalry going through. And I think they'll both be taking each other seriously, and they'll both want to win.
Okay, no, it's very valid. So Jens, we'll start with you for the quick fire predictions. Fulchester v Astor.
1-0 Colchester.
Ryan?
I'm in a bit privileged position. I've seen the teams go into this. I think this is going to be an exciting game. I do think Fulchester will nick it though, and I think Macca is desperate for this victory. I think he would be if Astor do turn him over on Sunday, then it'll be he'll have a lot to answer, which obviously makes it a little bit exciting. I think there's a bit more on it, but yeah. Sorry, if I just meant to get quick fire. I do think Fulchester will grab it though 2-1.
Steve?
3-1 Fulchester. I think he'll have too much.
And Greavy?
I think Fulchester will win 3-2.
I'm going to follow the lead here and say that Fulchester will win 2-0 to avoid the blushes and not have to retract the myth talk. Game number 3, and a game that one of you is particularly interested in. So we'll come to you second, Steve. And first, we'll let Ryan discuss the home side as Gazelles, who won last time out against Haggis, entertained Dudley, who did unfortunately lose to Locomotive Boston. Are Gazelles starting to turn out the performances and results people are expecting, Ryan?
Starting to turn the screw. He's basically gone back to that 4-1-3-2. He's gone back to what he's good at, hasn't he? Really, and he's got the players there. They were really exciting to watch. I think last few weeks, and yet he completely hammered Haggis. So, as Steve said recently, Dudley are in the mire a little bit at the moment. Transfer deals pending. Hopefully, try and shake things up. I think away at Gazelles is a big ask for Dudley Hill, but they've got the players. If they get that front line going, then Dudley Hill will beat anyone. So it's a really, really up in the air game. But on form, I'm going Gazelles here 2-0.
Steve, Ryan makes a good point, but what we have seen, particularly in the early stages of the season, is that you can win games away from home. What would not just a win, but a win over Gazelles mean?
I don't think it matters who's in front when I'm looking for this next win. If I'm honest, to sort of get up to that 15-point mark, it'd be a start going forward. And I know this time I've changed my tactic massively. Obviously, it's been out there for a few days, and the reason I've done it is to try and flood a little bit that back four and DM to try and stop them getting to 3 centre midfielders. It's not as reactive as it quite looks in terms of massive change. My formation is going to be set once these transfers are done. Formation is going to be set. So I thought, let's have a go at them. Let's try and pin them back a little bit. And to be fair, I basically got my arse handed to me with 3 up top last week. So let's give it a go. And again, it's a formation that always works for me at home. But I know you can never take that into it. But if they can get plenty of ball up there to Ronaldo, Crespo, hopefully, we might just pin them back a little bit, and we might be able to nick a bit of something.
Ryan's already put his prediction in, Steve. So what are you saying going into the game? Are you going in with confidence that you're going to win?
Well, yeah. If I won't look like Cox, so I'm going to win 3-0.
What's your prediction?
Sadly, it's the complete opposite. I think Gazelles are going to win 3-0.
Jens?
I'm going to have to go for Gazelles. I think they're one of the top 3 best teams in the league at the moment.
I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw, personally, in this one. That's not sitting on the fence. I just think that the run, Steve, the run that your side are capable of putting together, and the slightly inconsistent nature of the Gazelles, you might just catch them on an off day. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw. Jens, I'll come back to you for game number 4, because we now look to the Halls Vikings. You drew last time out, as we said earlier, with Astor. This time around, you're entertaining Bostock Stanley, who suffered quite a heavy defeat last time out. we won't dwell on that too much for the time being, at least. Are you going in confident mood?
Yeah, I am. I think last week I was a little bit disappointed with the draw against Astor. But I mean, everyone said that we had to turn our bad performances into draws instead of losses. So maybe it's a point gained after all. My problem is I don't really feel that I've gotten started yet. We had a horrible start, and then we had a change of formation, won some games and everything, but it's not many of my best players that's really performed up to the levels that I expect.
Sorry, carry on.
No, so I have to get my best players going if I want to get to those playoff positions, and so I'm hoping we're going to start that against Bostock. I think they're a really good side. They're in a bad run, but they've got some really good players. So we've actually switched our tactics up a little bit for the weekend to a little bit to try and get more of a couple of our players, and also a little bit to try and how do you say it? Eliminate what I think is their strongest qualities.
Something I picked up on during the Christmas shutdown one-on-ones that a couple of managers took the time to discuss when speaking about your team. You said you've not got started yet, but we're looking at it that if you could have just turned some of those defeats into draws, even it's not even about the wins column. Your draw column is empty, and if you just turn just a couple of those defeats into draws, you'd already be higher up in the league table. Is that a learning curve on how to just nick the draw if it's not going your way?
Yeah, I think I think we have to look a little bit beyond our start, because we tinkered with different formations every time. We're new to the league and didn't work out the way we planned, and but after we found the formation that clearly worked, we've picked up a lot of points. Not many teams in the league picked up more than us. But as I said again, I think if we want to get the playoffs in the end, I think we have to evolve a little bit more. We have to try and find another way to get even more out of our best players. So, but yeah, as I said, we got a draw last time out. I wasn't happy right after the game, but thinking about it afterwards, a draw away from home in the Super League when you're not performing really well is actually not that bad, and we're still not far away. So if we can get a win on Sunday, then yeah, we're in the mix.
And Greavesy, last week you leapfrogged Jens's opponent in the table, and they are in a bad run of form now. But Bostock Stanley will still be dangerous, won't they?
Yeah, they've got Big Shagger, haven't they? So you can never write a team off that's got Big Shagger up front, because he is that good. He's got a couple of injuries going through and suspensions as well. So you just got to hope he pulls together and goes through. But I can see it being a good competitive game, and just looking forward to seeing it on Sunday, really.
And Steve, let's come to you first then. What is your pre-match prediction?
I think this is one of the toughest ones so far, really. Oh, God. One apiece. I can't get off the fence with this one. I try not to be, but I can't.
Ryan?
I'm just trying to think who's at home. Who's at home?
Jens is at home.
Yeah. I have to try and look at. I've seen both formations, and I think this is another one that's going to be a good game. Bostock have switched things up again. Obviously, he's in a bit of bad form. I think the home advantage will probably pay dividends for Hulls, and they'll probably sneak it here. Maybe a 2-1. I think 2-1.
I presume you'll be predicting a win, Jens?
I go into the game with confidence. I know what Bostock can do, because I think they got a lot of quality players, but I think our formation, if Bostock sets up the way we think they are, I think the way we're playing is going to give us a good chance to get the 3 points, yeah. But we got to keep Big Shagger quiet.
And finally, Mr. Greaves, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be balls out. I think Hull's going to win 3-2.
I worry about what it will do to the psyche of Scott if he suffers another defeat, because the pressure will really start ramping up. So I'm, unfortunately for Jens, going to say that it will be a 2-2 draw. I'm not sure if he'd take that as a result if I offered it to him now. But Mr. Greaves, let's stick with you because the next game is yours. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, you beat Dudley last time out. And this time around, you are at home to bottom of the table Northern Burn, who after finally getting that first win of the season, were brought back straight back down to earth with a defeat to Sloths. Are you confident going into it?
Yeah, I'm confident going into any game. I look at people discredit my team all the time, and I pick up my result and I carry on to the next week. It's become the norm of the Super League at the moment. My squad isn't good enough, but then when people analyse my starting 11, people have nothing but praise for the whole squad. So I think they're just, am I a myth coming out of nowhere, just picking up results, or am I grinding out no whatever? But Northern Burn do worry me a little bit because it is the great unknown. It's Ian does change his formation a little bit, but he does keep certain things the same. Last time I played the team that was bottom of the league, Jens humped me, so I'm a bit worried about that because I am in the fortunate position that I've only lost twice, and it does stick with me. So I've kept with the same formation that picked up the victory against Dudley Hill, and which I think is quite solid yet attacking. So I'm not shithousing people all the time. I'm being a bit more expansive.
And Steve, what about Northern Burn? They did pick up that first win and then they lost again. Are they going to go back on another losing run?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? The problem for me is I see that formation of Greaves as being a little bit too strong. I said to him he DM'd me sort of half apologising, and I even said to him from that, I said, look, I'm just happy. Even if it's against me, that you haven't got a result that shit out someone, you've gone out and properly done it. You know, it was sort of, yeah, obviously I wouldn't have liked it to be against me, but I just think the attacking nature of it, with the defensive nature about it as well, it's as long as he's got ball moving up long, which he must have had against us to be able to get the ball up there, I think he's got a massive chance of really picking up another 3 points, really, which is, it's tough on Ian, but it seems like
nobody plays long ball. Nobody plays long ball.
No. Well, I'm trying to find excuses out for having my backside handed to me. But
I think I think it might have been before you joined, but Martin put a graphic on last season of the team instructions, and I think 12 out of the 14 teams 1 week had attacking shots, pressing, offside trap, no. Everyone had exactly the same. I think one team had mixed on passing and one team had offside trap off. Apart from that, everything else was absolutely the same. And it's a little bit more varied this season, but not that much more varied. I mean, there's been a few direct passes, but I've not seen anyone play long ball all season.
I'll start the predictions off this time round. I'm actually going to say Northern Burn will get something out of it. Do you know what? I'll back them for a 2-1 win. What about you, Jens?
I'm going for Ian as well. I think Greaves' team are strong, but with a team like Ian's, he's going to have to get wins sometimes, and he did against us, and I think he's going to get it again. 2-1.
Greavesy, do you want to turn the tide a little bit?
Well, considering in the past 2 games I've only conceded 2 shots on target, I think I'm going to win 3-1.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Greavesy there. He's sort of let him off at leash a bit, although I don't think he'll concede. So I see 3-0 unfortunately.
And Ryan?
Yeah, do you mean Boston on great form? I think Greavesy, I think you mentioned a few people that have been slagging off his team. I'm definitely not one of them. I really like his team. And I think he strengthened it with Decor in there as well. I think this will be do you mean, Ian's in the mire, isn't he? He needs something, but I don't think it's going to be away at Boston. I think probably a 2-0, maybe a 3-0.
Ryan, I'll stick with you as we go into the penultimate game. Sloths v Leddersford. Is this going to be a highlight game of the week, do you think?
It's a fun game, isn't it? It's really one because both teams, some weeks they turn up, other weeks they don't. I mean, Sloths have kind of been up and down around that 6th place mark all season. I'm just looking at the form now on the screen, and they've just been in and out. Both teams have got some fun players as well. I really like obviously having the champ legends in there and Sloths in Neil Scarley and David Collins. Leddersford have got a few players like that. I think Volodankov is one of them, Kutikov, Sorochinsky. Maybe not household names in the footballing world of real life, but really big names on champ. Yeah, I think it'll be a fun game. Leddersford won their last game, I think, against Bostock. Sloths beat Aston, not Aston, did Sloths beat? Sloths beat Northern Burn 1-0, so both teams in good form. Yeah, I can see an exciting score draw here, maybe a 2-2. If you have to push me for a winner, I'd probably say because of the home advantage, Sloths will get there. And I think if that does happen, I think the pressure's got to start mounting on Leddersford, really, because they just, I would say that'll be 4 defeats out of 5. And you mean, it's not a bad squad he's got there.
I think in terms of a preview, I don't think I could have done any better than how you've built it up there. So I'll go straight into the predictions. Jens, let's come to you. What are you thinking for this game?
I don't dare to do anything else than predict the Sloths win anymore. I mean, every time I predict them to lose, they put my name out on Twitter. So I'm going to say 5-0 Sloths. You hear that, Rob? 5-0.
What about you, BB?
I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. They're both attacking, but I do like how Hodgie's changed his team round, but I think the home advantage plays. So I think it's going to be 2-2 draw.
Steve?
Yeah, I can see Hodgie nicking it here. I think, like I say, a lot of rests on what it would be. If not, I can see him nicking a 1-0.
Do you know what, Jens? I know that me and you discussed it off screen, so I will predict your score for you. Leddersford will win 7-0. That brings us to the final game, and I will go to Steve. Devils top of the league entertain Haggis, who are themselves now out of the top 6. Could this be a decent game, or is it too sides who, to quote an earlier show, it's going to be a bit meh?
Oh, I've had a little bit of a name for tinkering, but I think apart from Kieran, I think probably Ian's the next one in line who's probably changed things up a little bit here and there because of the team he's put together, or him and Rox have put together. He's changing his tactics to try and, again, what got said about me, fit players in, as opposed to go with what you've got and pick the best player for the position you want to play. We all know that on the day when they do turn up, they're going to give somebody an hiding, without a shadow of a doubt. I just can't see him picking someone up out of this game, mate. This is not blowing smoke up your rear end, but I just think you're in that much good form, and I think personally, I think some of your top players are better than some of their top players. And I think you might just get on top of them.
In terms of Devils, as I've been open about, I don't know if any of you saw my one-on-one with Scott, but I've been overly delighted with the start. I think if we can get a positive result, and I would take a draw as part of a positive result at this stage, I might start to believe, I don't know if you can read my T-shirt here, but I might start to believe that the Devils are more than just hype. quick fire predictions. I'm obviously going to back my boys. Given the win we had against Bostock, I'm going to say we will go 4-0. Jens?
I think you're the strongest team right now in the league, and 3-1 for me.
Ryan?
Yeah, I think the last 4 games, 11 goals for Swindon. I think 3 goals for Haggis kind of says it all. I think the form you're in, and just to add on to Steve's point about Haggis tinkering, apart from moving certain players wider than you stuck with your formation all season, 5 and it's worked for you. Why wouldn't you? I can see this being an easy home win and pound on the pressure. I'd say 3-0 Swindon.
Steve?
Yeah, I've got you at 2-0, mate. I know it's been a cause for